if we release one song every week and make it known that that's what's going to happen, then the fans, know that they've got 17 or 16 weeks of releases to look forward to. We've got an excuse to talk about ourselves for like 16 weeks, you know, because obviously in a band you need to self-promote. And we've actually got a full release slate for 2022, and I don't even know if we'll be able to release everything that we want to release. Like we've got the 𝒎𝒊𝒗𝒆 video that we're going to shoot very, very soon. Goodbye Berlin video, which is pretty much shot. We just need to go through and fine tune that. I think I wouldn't mind getting up and coming talent to remix that as well. Then the other plan is a song we did called 𝒎𝒐𝒄𝒆 back in 2000 and whatever it was, something.
Don't test me. I'm in front of you and my brain's turned to crap.
The fans can find out. You can tell me what year 𝒎𝒐𝒄𝒆 was released in 2000 and something.
Somebody research. Google whack.
Very first video I did for 𝒎𝒐𝒄𝒆, which is this psychedelic space octopus.
Sorry?
That was the video for 𝒎𝒐𝒄𝒆, which nobody has ever seen, but I showed it again to Mark and he's like, dude, this is trippy as fuck. So the band's been around for like 14 years now. I think we can afford to maybe re-release a few older singles.
And why not? You've got a receptive audience.
Yeah, so the plan is to do 𝒎𝒐𝒄𝒆 2022 and Somebody 2022, along with Goodbye Berlin and Tears of Faith. Now that's like 4 singles. We might not get to release everything this year. Also coupled with the fact that I've written probably 2 albums worth of original material as well. So I'm itching to get back to the new original material. So
I can't blame you. Like, you must feel as though you spend a lot of time kind of peddling your own hamster wheel on what you've already created, which would make you feel as though you're abandoning your access to new ideas a lot of the time.
You know, a few people have like, oh, you've just done a covers album and you do that Holiday 14 thing every year. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a musician, I make music, and I'm not too prissy to worry about whether it's my song or somebody else's song. And at the end of the day, I had so much fun making Travelogue, and like you can see if you go to social media, people are like, oh, do Dare next, or do Penthouse and Pavement next, and it's like, you know.
Well, yeah, but.
Yes, but I could see myself doing Dare and Hysteria, but probably not for another 3 or 4 years, because I want to sort of focus more on the original material again.
I think.
And doing that sort of stuff you do because it's fun, you know what I mean? And it's like it's a vanity project, and it's because you know the absolute nerd, geek, Human League fans are just going to blow a gasket when they hear that stuff. And I mean,
especially having been pent up for a while, they're a little touchy.
And I think it's good too, because the songs in their original form are mind-blowing, and I thought it's a nice way to actually bring those songs up to date and give them new clothes and let audiences hear them in a new sort of way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Shithouse Band.
For the inept.
Is there much of a long tail thing going on? Do you find people still pick up the older stuff?
Going back to the social media thing, as part of that social media strategy I mentioned before, we make a point to actually promote those early original songs so people can hear the older stuff and the new stuff as well. I'm getting thirsty now.
I'm getting gag reflex.
I thought you would have conquered that a long time ago, Julian.
You tripped over a doozy. I want to pick it up. Death. Oh, no, Death is down here.
You know, I certainly don't believe in product placement, but nothing tastes as fresh as water coming out of a Musicology For The Inept cup.
Don't make eye contact with me now! He's fingering my mug. Oh, no, he's actually fingering Greg's mug.
All right, sorry. Let's get serious again. What were you saying?
Death.
Death. If you're okay talking about it, you mentioned earlier that you'd had some quite early exposure to death in your life.
When I was very, very young, my uncle got very, very ill very quickly, and he ended up in ICU, and I was there as a very young boy, and it was obviously quite confronting. And then having a very close friend pass away at a very early age sort of makes you take stock of life. And my mother worked in a nursing home as well, so she worked in the kitchen there, so I'd go there after primary school and sit in the window, and then they'd be wheeling past this trolley, and I'm like, what's that? And she's like, oh look, somebody just passed away. And then I was kind of curious about what happened with the bodies, and then they ended up showing me the morgue. I think everybody processes death in a different way, or doesn't. But I think it was beneficial for me because it gave me sort of a perspective on life, and we don't have very long on this planet, you know what I mean? So the simple message is look after yourself and look after other people. And it's funny how many people I encounter in life who don't experience death until like very late in life, and I'm talking, you know, in their 30s or 40s or 50s, and then they just completely fall apart, they freak out, they get PTSD, they can't process it.
It's quite a recent phenomenon as well, the idea that people wouldn't be familiar with death, right? It's, for a lot of history, you would have just seen it day to day.
I think, like, working in healthcare, you're obviously exposed with that, you know, really mortal
you have
side.
no
so
option.
on a weekly basis, I
Yeah.
see people pass away, you know, so it really gives you a really good handle on mortality and appreciating your very, very short time on this earth. So make hay while the sun shines, you know what I mean?
You work frontline health. You guys who are at the forefront tend to be cynical pragmatists by the nature of what you do and what you pass through in your professional field. How full is your empathy bucket, John?
The patients that we have, the majority, I have a lot of empathy for. Where it becomes tough is where you have family and visitors and relatives who might not behave in the most appropriate fashion.
Describe.
When they are educated by Dr. Google and question the doctor's practice and nurses' practice, these doctors have trained for like 10, 15, 20 years plus. They're experts. Nursing staff have trained for like many years. If you think some little magic water is going to fix your relative, then why are you here in the hospital? When people are unwell, it's the illness, not the person.
We all love the music of Queen, but for Jules, the band holds a special significance. At a point in his own life when he was at a musical crossroads, their anthemic rock stylings and rich harmonies helped to inspire his own insipid warblings. Here he is with Bohemian Rhapsody.